What's going on, people? Today's story is Essex Police target harassment and gang stalking. Okay, so basically this harassment started back in about 2008 when I was arrested for threats to kill, slander and harassment via hip-hop lyrics and poetry. I was arrested by a hate crime unit at DC Arthur, who interviewed me, and basically I was accused of standing outside my mum and dad's home with a firearm, threatening to shoot them, a knife threatening to stab them, also threatened to burn down the family home. Okay, now this was all for exposing family child abuse and the racism towards my little girl when she was born. Now, DC Arthur wouldn't have any of this, went along with these lies, added more allegations. Next thing I know, I'm in magistrates and I was remanded in prison at Chelmsford for 3.5 weeks. Okay, I was bailed for 6 months, and after that I then went to the Crown Court. I did a week's trial and I had my material banned for 5 years. So my rap, poetry, even offensive pictures were banned for 5 years. Now this was the first gagging order of its kind in the country. The second was Scribs from 6-7 in Brixton, but he got one for the gang side of things. Mine was for literally the poetry itself. Okay, so I'm banned for 5 years. I can't speak about my family, the child abuse, the stuff they've been putting me through since as a young boy, the abhorrent behaviour and treatment of my little girl. None of it can be spoke on. So anyway, when I was bailed, before I went to Crown, I went to live with a girl. That didn't last too long, so I went to a hostel. That hostel, I was making coffee one day in the morning and there was a knock at the door. And a knock on the window, one police officer. So I opened the door stupidly. All of a sudden, a load of police officers rushed in, said there was a burglary in the house and held me downstairs, and they all swarmed around the house. The only room they checked was mine. So once again, I knew I was being harassed, targeted for no reason. When police do pull me, they will pull my records up and say things like, "You like to harass people for poetry, do you?" So something's awfully corrupt there anyway. So anyway, later on, my dad and stepmom had a divorce. My stepsister stupidly left £4,000 in the house for her university fees, and my dad stole that. Police never done nothing. My belongings that were in the house, we're talking mini motorbikes, mountain bikes, 2.2 rifles, about 200 rap CDs, and sentimental things like birthday, Christmas, Father's Day cards from my daughter. They were all destroyed. According to my stepsister, everything was sold at a boot sale that had any monetary value, and with the scam picture of my daughter before she was born, that was burnt in a fire in the garden. Once again, Essex Police did nothing. So a little while later, I was sent a paedophilic comment by a random account named Martin Luther on Writer's Cafe. And it was a picture of my little girl about 3.5 on the beach with the caption, "This is what I look at when I'm playing with myself." Now obviously, being a father, you're going to get a bit pissed off, especially when there's a lot of paedophilia in the family. So I spoke to my daughter's mum, that didn't care. My stepmum said my dad wouldn't have said that, and police, I said to police, "Either you go deal with him, I'll do." They said, "You attend his house, you're going to be going back to court to face the original up to 5 years original charges, and you'll be facing up to 5 years." So they let him get away with that as well. Another time, I lent my keys to a so-called friend while I went away for a few weeks and I had to leave my dog. So I was in Brixton and I got a phone call to say they thought my house had been burgled. Police went and locked it up. I was then burgled again while I was away, so twice police had gone back to lock it up. The guy that burgled my house is dead now for some reason, shame really. But his name was Warren, his friend Stanley, and who I gave the keys to was Michael. Now, Essex Police, when I spoke to them, said there was no proof of that happening basically, even though the guy was wearing my watch, t-shirt and hoodie on Facebook. They said he could have bought it from a pub, so 40 grand worth of stuff gone, and Essex Police refused to do a thing. So I started to harass Warren a bit online because of course I wanted it with him. And his exact comment was, "Don't make me throw my good friends at Essex Police." Now this is a bit suspect, awfully suspect to me. Next time, my half-sister, I had all my sentimental belongings once again, £10,000 worth of rap and dancehall CDs, everything that meant things to me, early pictures of my dog, absolutely everything that I loved was stored at my nan's, because I didn't want anything to do with my nan, because she let a Jehovah's Witness, who is my auntie, back into the house after sexually abusing her son. I didn't want nothing to do with her, so I walked away, and she needed some revenge basically. She gave permission for my half-sister to rummage through my belongings, steal what she wants and throw away the rest. I then sent her a text saying I want all that stuff back in 24 hours. Police then find me saying they want to see me for harassment. I'm breathing heavily down the phone. I'm terrorising my sister, basically. I told the officer it's wishful thinking, that ain't going to happen. He never phoned me again. Next thing I know, I've got a second gagging order from family court in Romford. And I couldn't believe the stuff that was there. I spoke to a police officer, he threatened to arrest me and said my sister might accuse me of false allegations, even though she admitted it in a previous statement. You cannot make these clowns up. And that was PC Mill Hoskin. Basically, I'm being threatened with arrest for standing up for myself and wanting my belongings back. So there's a lot of corruption going on with Essex Police. With my family, especially my dad's huge narcissistic, toxic arsehole, can't stand seeing me happy, gets off on my miseries. Like he said, you'll have nothing in life, and set out to destroy me. They run a smear campaign on my family, they run a smear campaign on my daughter. All these people think I'm bad just for exposing family child abuse and racism. Now that doesn't make me bad at all, but in their eyes it does. Now something that's got me wondering for a long time with Essex Police, an X amount of times Essex Police have covered up child abuse. Okay, this is a bit suspicious. My uncle lost his children through child abuse. The child abuse was so severe, one of the children was moved to Essex, another part of Essex, and another child was moved to Kent. My auntie sexually abused my cousin. He went to school, he was playing with himself. They said, why are you doing that? He said, this is what my mum does at home. Police turned up, social services, he was put into care, released back to his mum when he was 15. She never went to prison, nor did my uncle for the child abuse before. And then we have my half-sister's kids who are play school age, laid on her back and told another child, F me, and she was actually expelled. Now, that tells me there's an awful lot of child abuse in his family. And also my dad's friend, he was caught with child abuse material, images. So there's an awful lot of child abuse, there's an awful lot of cover-ups, and I think this goes back to Essex Police. I believe this is Masonic bullshit. I believe certain people have Essex Police in their back pocket, and at the end of the day, I don't know why any Essex Police officers wouldn't want to cover up child abuse. Right, especially if they're children themselves. There's got to be some officers against this, but absolutely every officer I've come against sees me as the threat, and I believe a lot more is going on in the background. I believe things are happening with my dad. I believe Essex Police are covering for him, and I think a lot more rabbit holes with my family if people bother to look. So yeah, another time, armed police. My sister made false allegations of my mum being with a firearm. So my nan phoned me and said, police are probably going to turn up at your mum soon. And literally a few minutes later, police knocked. Some police didn't knock, I didn't think, but they knocked, opened the door, and they basically wanted to see my mum. So I explained I had a cancer operation and I had to stay in bed. And the officer said, I've got to search the house, so I'm going to have to take you and your dog out. And he was very respectful, led me out nicely by the arm. Obviously understand the situation I've gone through. Another armed police officer then rushed up to me, grabbed me by my arm and swung me into the wall. Now, they weren't even at that house for me. Okay, obviously they didn't fire the firearm, and I'm being attacked for no reason whatsoever. Now, according to Essex Police, the lying bastards, this didn't even happen, but that's why it was in the newspaper, and that's why they had to do a response. I'll go later on, I'll do a video on the IOPC results, and you won't believe the gaslighting and the bullshit Essex Police are coming out with. So yeah, that's really the end of the video. I just wanted to cover what has happened, and I'll carry on with the rest in the next video.